what I was saying is, when I came in and when I came from those streets and I didn't want to look in the mirror at myself because it wasn't me. And as years pass and days pass, and I look in the mirror now and say, okay, this is me. I'm back, This Larry Peterson, But 2 years ago, it wasn't Larry Peterson. It was just, I don't even know. It was just somebody, And I had to say to myself, I got to do better. I got to strive, I got to push. And Will, I thank him because, he was on me. He didn't give me a break. And it molded me to where I appreciated it because I knew he ain't doing this just to do it. He sees something. He sees something there. I can't put my finger on it. But for him to push me this way, it made me a better man. I acknowledge him, He be hard on me, I say, yep, we're on me.
I would say this, for the time, but he was a little bit after me, but he was the most, seemed like the most normal. So when you said he had to do what he did, I didn't know that. I had no idea. But gradually seemed like he had his stuff together. He was going to work. He was, him and I would talk. I had no idea. I thought he was,
Yep.
Just like me, just didn't have a place. I didn't realize he was coming from there.
Yeah, man. And look at him now.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Congrats.
What you talking about? You don't need to rub nothing off. You got it.
I gotta get your own.
I got your own. There you go, man.
But he already got it. He just got to recognize it at this point. You're talking about 10 uncomfortable signs you're becoming a better person. Word of the day is becoming. Becoming is the process of coming to be something or passing into a state. You are becoming something. Every human being is evolving. Long as you breathing, you can change. Long as you breathing, you're supposed to be learning. If you're 75 years old, you don't know everything. If you live to be 1,000 years old, you will still be learning. It's ongoing. You are evolving. Either you evolving in something good or you're going backwards in life. Saying of the day, life isn't about getting more, it's about becoming more. This talk is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional guidance, advice, treatment, or diagnosis. If you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis, substance use or abuse, or suicidal thoughts, dial 988. 988 is available 24/7 nationwide and staffed by trained crisis counselors who are just a text or call away. You may be on a journey to become a better version of yourself, but sometimes it can feel like your growth is slow or non-existent. When you're in the process of growing and improving, it's not always easy to see the signs of progress, but that doesn't mean nothing is changing. 10 uncomfortable signs you're becoming a better person, 1 through 5. Number 1, you're starting to question things. That's how you know you're a better person. Now you're starting to question stuff that you never questioned before. And you're not just taking information in and accepting everything that you're hearing. It can be scary to realize that some of the things you believe in all along might not be true, but sometimes it's necessary in order to grow as an individual and even to help others along their paths. When you start questioning the things, you're moving beyond the surface and beginning to see things for what they are as opposed to what others want you to see. You think more critically instead of accepting things at face value. You question why things are the way they are and whether or not they need to change. And if so, how? The more questions you ask in general, the easier it becomes to make informed decisions. You know you're changing when you start questioning stuff that you used to believe. Because that's how you grow. You have to change. You have to shed the old you and move into the new you. And ain't no way in the world you're going to move into the new you still holding on to that crap. You got to let it go. They walk into a new version, holding on to some stuff you wanted from the past. 10 uncomfortable signs you're becoming a better person. Number 2, your perspective is changing. Your paradigm is changing. The way you see the world is changing. It's not always easy to see the change in yourself. Who said that? One of y'all said that, right? Yeah, you said that. Yeah, other people see it first. Right. They're all used to thinking of ourselves as fixed beings with a set identity and set ways of doing things. But when you start to notice that your perspective is changing, it's actually an indication that you're growing and evolving. If your perspective on something changes, it's because you've been learning more about it. But when you start to notice that your perspective is changing, it's actually an indication that you're growing and evolving. If your perspective on something changes, it's because you've been learning more about it and have a better understanding of it. This process is one of the most important aspects of growth. It can be scary or uncomfortable at first, but those feelings are just part of the process. 10 uncomfortable signs you're becoming a better person, 1 through 5. Number 3, you are starting to see your own dark side, because we all have one. And if you don't think you got a dark side, you're lying to yourself. Because we all have some thoughts. Man, I had an issue, man, with my car. Took my car to the shop, and then they were working on my car, and then something else happened to my car. I'm like, hold on, that wasn't wrong with my car. And so I said, I waited like 2 days before I went there, because I knew that if they said the wrong thing, I was going to, man, so I had to wait a few days. You feel me? I said, I'm going to wait a few days before I go and talk to the manager of the shop, because if he say the wrong thing, man, about my car, you feel what I'm saying? Yeah, bro. So I said, give it 2 days, man. Don't go like this. Don't go like this. They ain't ready for that. So I waited 2 days. And I'm driving, I'm calming myself down. Like, you know what? No, don't be positive. So I get there, and sure enough, I'm talking to the manager, and he giving me that BS. He giving me that BS. And we finally, I said, give me the corporate number, man. He gave me the corporate number, but I wanted the boy, I wanted the You know what I'm saying? And even when I went home, I had some dark thoughts. I was like, man, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
They say.
I'm telling you. I'm like, dude, I can really be playing with me. We all got some dark thoughts. We all got them. And you fooling yourself if you act like you don't have dark thoughts sometimes. You are starting to see your own dark side. That's growth. Because most of us deny that we even have one. We all have a dark side. That part of us that we try to hide from others and even ourselves. Sometimes it's because we're afraid of what people will think. Other times it's because we are scared of what we might do if we let that dark side out. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. Get it on the head.
Come on, man. Because man, come on. When somebody do something wrong, you be like, get them thoughts in your head. You got to pray. For real, you like, God, I'm sorry about that. I ain't gonna do it, but it crossed my mind, Lord. Please help me. Deliver me from this. Remove this cup. Damn, bro. Sheesh. But when you're aware of your dark side and able to see its ugliness with understanding and compassion instead of judgment or fear, it can truly be liberating and freeing. It means that no matter how bad things get, how much anger, sadness, or frustration builds up inside you, you don't automatically act on those feelings or let them define who you are as a person. We all got a dark side, but we control it. And we don't act on it. You human. Thank you. 10 uncomfortable signs you're becoming a better person, 1 through 5. Number 4, you're less judgmental of others. The less judgment you have about other people, the better off you're going to be. We all have our opinions, and they are important to us. And of course, we have the right to those opinions. But what makes us human is that we can change our views when presented with new information. That's called a paradigm shift. A paradigm is how you view the world. A paradigm shift is when you change that view of the world when you get new information. That said, it's easy to become defensive when someone disagrees with you. You feel like your opinion is being threatened or attacked, making it challenging to listen to or learn from that person. But if you're able to be less judgmental of those who disagree with you, it's a sign that you're becoming a better person. It shows that you are more open to and accepting of other people's opinions and beliefs, even if they contradict your own. 10 uncomfortable signs you're becoming a better person, 1 through 5. Number 5, the final one. You recognize your own role in past conflicts. That's how you know you're being a better person, because something that used to piss you off and burn you up, now you can sit back and see where you played your part in messing that up. And when you can admit that you was a part of the problem, you can see where you made your mistakes, then you can change. Because if you don't see what you did as a problem, you ain't gonna never ever change you. For most people, it can be hard to admit. For most people, what's he, pajama pants, brother?
Yes, sir. I took a shower last night.
Okay, all right. What, you ain't took one in a while?
No.
All right, no.
I gotta go to work today, so I gotta take another one.
Okay. All right, that's cool. All right, so for most people, it can be hard to admit when they make mistakes, especially when those mistakes have caused other people's pain. A lot of people, it's hard to admit mistakes when they cause other people pain. You don't want to admit that you hurt somebody. Oh man, they're not big enough to admit it. It takes courage to do that. It takes courage. And the sooner you can apologize and admit when you're wrong, the healthier you are. The sooner I figure out I did something or said something, because I could be fuming. Like, she said this, he said that, they did this, they did that. And I'm like, oh, but I said that. Oh man, I was wrong. I don't even think about what they did no more. I got to go make that right. As soon as I catch mine, I got to make it right. Because if I don't, my conscience is going to bother me. It's going to whoop on me, man. But it is important to take responsibility for our actions, even when they're unintentional. We can see how our actions have hurt someone, or when we look back at a situation and we see that there are more than one side to it. It is a clear sign that you are becoming a better person. Recognizing your role in past conflicts helps you to empathize with others and apologize sincerely. It also helps you to learn how to avoid making those same mistakes again, because once you can admit that you made a mistake, you can change. So we said 10 uncomfortable signs you're becoming a better person, 1 through 5. We're going to do 6 through 10 Monday. So we said number 1 was you're starting to question things. Also, number 2 is your perspective is changing. Number 3, you are starting to see your own dark side. Number 4, you're less judgmental of others. And the final one, number 5, you recognize your own role in past conflicts. Any questions, concerns, or comments, everybody? Yes, sir?
I had to do number 5 with my ex-wife. I had to call her, because I was sitting back and I thought about the things I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I called her and I said, well, I apologize for this, and this, because I realized what I've done in this marriage.
Right.
That made me feel better.
Yeah.
It got all that off of me.
Even if they don't forgive you.
Yeah.
Look, man, I look at it like this. If I take it to God and God forgive me, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done, man. You do not have to forgive me.
But why if you leave your ex alone and she keep bothering you, you ain't doing nothing to this woman, but she keep just bothering you?
Call the police.
Change your phone
Get a restraining order.
Change your phone number.
Change your phone number. Do something. There's all kind of things you can do to let her know that you don't want her. You got to let her know. See, my thing is this, man. When people break up, see, I'm unique. When I break up, I'm done. Oh, bro. While I'm with you, I'm gonna do it. If I'm with you, I love you. So if I'm with you and it look like we about to break up, or you talking about it's time to break up, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to keep us together.
Okay.
If we got to go to counseling, if I need to change, if I need to do some inventory on myself and look at what I'm doing in this relationship and change it, and promise not to do it again, I'll do whatever I can to save a relationship. But once we break up, ain't no coming back. Ain't no coming back for me. Ain't no running into each other 3 years later. Oh, what? How you doing? You look good. How you doing? You just a person I know. We ain't like that no more. I'm not entertaining that no more.
You said about living and learning. Living is learning. You always, as long as you live, you're gonna learn. You gotta be learning. You gotta learn. And as you're learning, you're alive. So living is learning, learning is living.
Not true.
No?
No. You can live.
Mm-hmm.
Not guaranteed you gonna learn. Am I right?
Yeah.
So if you live, you gonna learn was true, then once we hit 50 or 60 or 70, we shouldn't make no more mistakes. Just because you living, man, there's a lot of people act their shoe size and not their age. A lot of people. Most people, actually. Because it's easier to be angry and mean and nasty. That's easy. But to walk in somewhere with a smile on your face and say, how you doing? For some people, that's the hardest thing to do. But they'll go better if you smile and say, how you doing? Come on, man. Come on. It ain't guaranteed you're going to get it, man, just because of your age.
I know for me, it took me 48 years to realize that I was a freaking knucklehead.
Took you that long?
It took me that long. And you talk about dark sides. My dark side had a dark side.
Whoa, okay.
So when I got paroled from prison, I went to Teen Challenge, and I realized once I gave my life to Christ, I started seeing things. I didn't do the things I used to do. I didn't think the way I used to think. I didn't talk the way I used to talk. So that made me realize that I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And number 5, me and my wife, we had a
The
plane
one you
crash
like.
into our marriage. And I had to apologize to her for what I did. so I can move forward.
Yeah.
Because if I kept that inside, I'd just be killing myself.
Let me say this, because both of y'all said the same thing about apologizing to people. And so you don't always have to go to people. You don't always have to go to people, man, and get their forgiveness sometimes, because there's some people won't give it to you. They won't forgive you. I don't care how sincere you are, man. They like, I'm not accepting your forgiveness. But that's when you take it to God. You take it to God then. And you sincerely apologize. I mean, you from your heart. Come on, man. When you by yourself, if you can't get real with your God, something wrong, man. Because I talk to God like I'm talking to my daddy. You feel me what I'm saying? When I'm talking to God, it's like I'm talking to my father. I never had my father in my life. Let me tell y'all this. I never had my father in my life on a consistent level. Never in my life. I do not feel like a man who grew up without a father. I do not. I feel like I had the best, because God carried me, man. God carried, I mean, it's dudes who go through syndromes and all kind of stuff because they don't have their daddy around. I mean, they be 50, 60, 70, still struggling because they never had a daddy in their life. I don't even know what that feels like, because I feel like I had a dad, because God was there every step of the way in my life. I ain't never felt like a kid. Maybe when I was younger, I probably felt the pain of not having a dad around when I was young. Well, I'm sure I did. But when I got to like 20 or 18, I started realizing, man, you blessed. You blessed, man. God been good to you. God been caring you. Look at all them times I started thinking back in my life, how I started off in Miami and Liberty City, over my granddaddy house, no running water. I mean, just broke, getting beaten, talked down 2, 3 years old, illiterate. By the time I was in school, first grade, I couldn't read, couldn't write, I couldn't even tell my colors in the first grade. I think back on that, man, I was set up to die. Early. They were producing just a human being that's going to die in this world. Black and illiterate in Miami. Death. God has something else for me, man. God carried me in his hand, bro. I don't know what it feels like to not have a father. I don't. I'm not going to say that. I've had a father. God's been my father the whole time. He's been like that for a lot of you all too. You just don't recognize it. Some of y'all just don't recognize it, man. Some of y'all sitting back like, man, what if I would have had a daddy? I'd have been doing this. I'd have been doing that. If you'd have known your daddy, probably wouldn't have. I'm just keeping it real, man. 10 uncomfortable signs you are becoming a better person, 6 through 10. Number 6, you no longer think you're better than everyone else. Anybody ever had that mentality? In here? You ever had a mentality? Okay, 1 hand went up. 2? You ever had it where you thought you was better than everybody? The way I was raised, you couldn't think you was better than nobody. You sitting around smiling. What you glad? What you smiling about? What you happy about? Y'all in the back room, you and your cousins playing and laugh. They come back there and whoop you. For real. Dysfunctional. The biggest obstacle in our lives, man, is going to be unlearning the crap we learned when we were kids and adults. The stuff that we learned. Go ahead.
Say something real quick about that. You say you get in the back and laughing and they come back and whoop you.
Yeah, man.
They had this thing back when I was young, like if little boys was hanging together, they giggle, laugh. Mm-hmm. They thought it was a feminine. They break up. Hey.
Yes.
That's mental.
Yeah.
That's mental. That's something. That's something that person, that adult, is carrying in themselves, and they projecting it on the kids.
See, I didn't even think about that.
That's an adult who has an issue about that, and they projecting it onto the kids. You know what I'm saying? It may seem like a strange thing to celebrate, but this is actually the beginning of some serious personal growth. Because when we believe we are the best, we don't give ourselves room to grow. You don't have a capacity to grow because you think you're the best. Remember we were talking about last week when Tim was talking about, like, if you're living, you're going to be learning. You ain't going to be learning if you think you know everything. If you think you know everything already, you ain't in a position to learn. You don't have the space to learn. How can you learn when you know everything already? When you already calling yourself wise. The wisdom, I lived long enough to get this wisdom. Well, if you got to say that, it probably isn't wisdom. Because the first thing about wisdom is you would show it opposed to talking about it. Am I right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We said last week, some things ain't for you to say. It's true, it ain't for you to say. You're a good parent, your kids will say it. If you're a good spouse, your wife will say it. Or if it's a woman, her husband will say it. Some things are not for you to say. Yeah, it may seem like a strange thing to celebrate, but this is actually the beginning of some serious personal growth, because when we believe we are the best, we don't give ourselves room to grow. We don't want to change or improve. We just want others to validate us or prove us right. But once we realize that no one is perfect and that everyone has room for improvement, including you, and you start focusing on your own growth instead of worrying about what others are doing. Because if you're worrying about what other people are doing, you ain't worrying about your own personal business. Uncomfortable signs, you're beginning to be a better person. 6 through 10. Number 7, when someone criticizes you, your first reaction is to look within instead of getting an attitude, or being angry or being mad because somebody said something. To know that you're changing and you're becoming a better person, when someone criticizes you, your first reaction is to look within. Criticism is tough to take. Most people tend to get defensive or lash out when they are criticized. When we take a step back and consider the criticism, we realize that it was actually right on target. If our first reaction is to look within yourself, when someone criticizes you, it shows that you are growing as a person and you're able to accept responsibility for your actions or choices. How do you handle it when somebody corrects you or somebody tells you something for your own good? When someone criticizes you, your first reaction is to look within. Criticism is tough to take. Most people tend to get defensive or lash out when they are criticized. When we take a step back and consider the criticism, we realize that it was actually right on target. If our first reaction is to look within yourself, when someone criticizes you, it shows that you are growing as a person and you're able to accept responsibility for your own actions and choices. 10 uncomfortable signs you are becoming a better person. 6 through 10. Number 8, your priorities are shifting. Whereas now your priority is getting some knowledge. Your priorities can be a powerful indicator of where you're headed in life. If you find yourself focusing on different things than you did before, your priorities are definitely shifting. You may have been more focused on making money, but now you're more interested in spending time with family and friends. You might have been focused on making money, missing out on important events, births, deaths, functions, family reunions, because you're always working. Can't go on vacation. You're always working, missing out on life, things that are happening in life that will not happen again. Or maybe you used to live on fast food and party all the time, but now you're more concerned about eating healthy and taking care of yourself. Some of us, man, is one McDonald's sandwich away from a stroke. It's a sign that you're growing as a person, you're setting fresh, new goals for yourself, and identifying how to best spend your time and your energy. 10 uncomfortable signs you're becoming a better person. 6 through 10. Number 9, you tell the truth, even when it's difficult or awkward. Even when it's not in your favor, you tell the truth. Because lying doesn't get anybody anywhere. Because a lot of times when we lie, we forget about what we lied about. You ever did that, man? Somebody, it could be a month or two later, and you talking to somebody, and sometimes you switch up and you mess up because you say something that you didn't say before, and the person caught it, but they just never told you. A lot of times people have caught you in lies, they just never said nothing. You tell the truth even when it's difficult or awkward. Sometimes telling the truth can be difficult. We all have moments of weakness where we want to avoid telling someone something that might upset them. It's much easier to tell white lies to avoid hurting their feelings or making them feel bad about themselves. While that may work in some situations, there are other times when the only way forward requires you to be honest with yourself and others. In the long run, telling the truth will make you a better person and help you forge strong relationships built on trust and honesty. 10 uncomfortable signs you're becoming a better person. 6 through 10. And number 10, you're less concerned with being right. When we're in the middle of an argument, it can feel like the only thing that matters is whether or not our point of view is correct. But if we're all constantly trying to prove that we are right, then nobody wins and we all lose, and no one learns anything new, and no one grows their mind or changes their heart. If you're less concerned with being right and more concerned with doing what's best for everyone involved, it's a sign of maturity, a sign that you can see beyond yourself and are becoming a better person in the process. It doesn't matter what you started out with, where you've come from, or where you are right now in life. Just about everyone has the ability to become a better person. You just need to be okay with becoming a little uncomfortable along the way. So what they're saying, you're less concerned with being right. And basically what they're saying is, all of us, man, it don't make no difference how you come into the world. It don't make no difference whether you born on the wrong side of the tracks, what they call. If you wasn't raised properly or taught the things you needed to be taught. It says it doesn't matter about any of that. You can become who you want to become. You can be the kind of person that you want to be. Instead of being somebody 20 or 30 complaining like, but I ain't have a dad. So what? A lot of people didn't have a dad. Because there's something that's supposed to kick in that's called independent will. There's something called independent will. Independent will says that no matter how you were raised, no matter what you was exposed to, that there comes a time in your life where you got to take responsibility for who you are and what you're going to become. That means is no excuses after a while. Okay, it's cool when you 5. It's cool if you 10 or if you 11 or 12 and you feel a certain way, but then you got to start growing up out of that. You can't use how you grew up as a crutch. Why you beat them kids? Because I used to get beat as a kid. You need to learn better. It's called independent will. No matter what you was exposed to, you was raised around racists. Well, guess what? Eventually, you're supposed to learn the difference between right and wrong. Man, I was raised around drug dealers. Okay, eventually, you're supposed to learn the difference between right and wrong. I grew up watching men put their hands on my mama. That's why I abuse women. Guess what, knucklehead? You're supposed to learn the difference between right and wrong. It's called your independent will. You can't use the excuse, I was born like this. This is how I am. I'm just this way. That's a coward's way out. Because that's easy to say. And it's easy to just be the way you've been. It's easy to do that. It takes courage to change. All right, so we said 10 uncomfortable signs you're becoming a better person. Number 6 we said was you no longer think you're better than everyone else. Number 7 we said when someone criticizes you, your first reaction is to look within. Number 8 is your priorities are shifting. Number 9, you tell the truth even when it's difficult or awkward. Number 10, you're less concerned with being right. Any concerns or comments about this, y'all, before we head out of here?
It's better to be correct than personally right. It's better to be correct than personally right. The certain.
You talking about up in here?
The 10.
10.
You said you're not concerned about being
okay.
right.
Right.
It's better to be correct than personally feeling that you're right.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So, okay, so like, all right, so I'm having a disagreement with this person about something, and I feel like I'm right about it, but the situation in the conversation is just getting heated. It's getting out of hand. It's probably going to end up turning into something they shouldn't turn into. So instead of like going back and forth, you can have that.
Right.
I'm good. I don't have to be proven right. I don't have to keep arguing with you about it. I just want peace. So in that instance, I see that 100%. Sometimes it's better to just say, you know what, you can have it.